FPE Network.
Florida Park Explorers.
We explore the parks 5 to 6 days a week with great live streams and vlogs. We cover everything from rides and food to magic and fun and fireworks. So come join us on our adventures as we take you through
the Disney parks and more.
Check out our all-new channel, the FPE Network. And thanks for watching.
Smiles, laughter, togetherness. It's the stuff vacations are made of. Not just the time we spend, but the memories we make together. So let Melska Planner help you plan the most magical vacation of all. We'll make it happen while you make the memories. Melska Planner. Family vacations made magically simple.
What's up, hockey fans? Welcome back to Even Strength. I am your host, the BearShark. With me tonight, as always, we have the natural, Sam Welb. How are you?
Good evening and hello, hockey fans from coast to coast. So great to be back for another epic week. How you doing, Dave?
I'm actually watching a Ranger game while doing this tonight, so if I seem extraordinarily distracted, it's because we're in the third. We're winning 5-3 over Dallas at the moment. It's been a great game, especially after the last two disasters. The disasters that have been our game. How are you doing? What's your week been like?
I'm doing great. It's been one unbelievable week. We've had a lot of fun over on the Toronto side of it. We saw the Kraken come into town. We saw the Coyotes come into town. Both games I don't really want to talk about.
Yeah, I understand. Believe me, it's been a week like that. Let me say hey to some folks. We got Bernie DC in the house. Hey, and welcome in. And Ear to Ear Magic CeeLo on the go. Welcome in. And the natural, that's Sammy's nickname. So get used to it, everybody, because The Naturals in the house with the BearShark. We're going to be having lots of fun. And other than that, welcome in Isaac Nail. EB, hello. Welcome in Stevie Lee. Explorer Jen, I'm surprised to see you. Let's see who else is here. Anthony Molerman, welcome in. Everybody, welcome in. Thanks for joining us tonight. There's my partner, Gene Fitzmagic's in the house, everybody. So tell us where you're watching from. Tell us who your team is. Drop in the chat. Make sure that you have it. Tonight, we got some additional graphics all over the place. We've got live score. I don't know which way it is. It's over. It's this way. There's live scores over there. We got all kinds of stuff going on. But welcome in, everybody. It was a great week in hockey. As a matter of fact, we got some great stuff coming up that we're going to be talking about. But yeah, I mean, what an awesome thing. Dude, we get to talk hockey every Saturday.
Get to talk hockey. It's like pulling the ice cubes out of the freezer and strapping them down and smelling that ice and just wishing I could be there myself. But hey, second greatest thing is we get to talk about it.
We get to talk hockey. So it's a lot of fun. And we thank you guys for the success of last week. We came out of the gate. We gained a ton of subscribers. If you're here and you're new, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It's super important. If you're watching us on replay, leave a comment down below about last week, this week, whatever you want. Let's talk hockey. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us either in the comments, which is always really, really helpful. Drop them in there. I know that Bernie did last week, and I appreciate those. I also know you're a Caps fan, which we won't pick on because one of the things we're going to get to here shortly is what OV did. So we'll get over to that in just a second. But other than that, anything else that you want to talk about in hockey before we get over to Sam's Club?
Oh, man, there's so much. I mean, whether it's some of these big stories, we got milestones, we got signings, we got crazy trade rumors. It is heating up. And, of course, I know it's coming up in Krystal's Corner real soon. There's something special happening tomorrow.
You know what? Let's just dive right into it. You ready?
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. So we're into Sam's Club now, everybody. We got a lot of things going on. This is where Sam takes over. He takes everything and runs it through with you, and I watch hockey on the – no, I'm just kidding. That's where I'm going to go through and kind of let him just take over. Take it away, Sam.
All right. Welcome to Sam's Club. There is no membership card to get in here. We welcome you all, and we're going to have some fun, and we're going to kick it off. Jason Robertson, the Dallas Stars. Do you guys know who this kid is? If not, you will now. He just had back-to-back night hat tricks, and there were actually a lot of hat tricks going around this week. We know Matthews had one with the Matty Hattie. We know there's been just tons of them going around the league. But this kid, back-to-back nights, 2 hat tricks. It's the first time, now again, the first time since the last time, Alex Ovechkin did this back in 2020. So it's been a couple years. And this is something that is really rare to have. So kudos, Jason Robertson. You did an unbelievable job. And if you have never heard of this kid before, you need to start watching him. He's got it all. He's got hands. He can skate. He's going to be something special.
Speaking of hands, not to interrupt you, Sammy, but not to mention those hands. He literally punched one in the net tonight, and I don't mean with his stick. He punched it in the net tonight. They let it go, and I'm not too happy with him right now.
Well, he can score anyway, and not to mention he has a brother kind of north of the border in Nick Robertson here in Toronto who's looking pretty good too. But Jason Robertson, he's my lead story tonight. This guy is something special. Now,
he's not too bad. I'm really impressed with this kid. 30 goals on the season. He's really doing something kind of epic and special right now. Welcome in, Claire. Welcome in, Patty Puddles. Welcome in, everybody. Sam's in the middle of Sam's Club. I'm going to let him keep running. We're going to get off the first story, get right into the second one. This one's for you, Bernie, because, well, there's Ovi.
Ovi does it. Now, we knew it's just a matter of time. This guy was going to do it. Yager knew it was coming. He talked about it himself, but Ovechkin ties Yager for third in goals with 766. That's a lot of pucks in the net.
Yeah, and I can't stand the guy. So he makes a home down underneath that hash mark. He waits for that pass to come across. He's deadly accurate. It's super quick. And you know what? As much as I don't like him, he's deserving of it because the skill is there. And tonight I wore my Yager jersey kind of in honor of it because it was my way of standing up against Ovi.
He's so unbelievable. And I've had him many years in my fantasy hockey team, and he's one of the most frustrating players to have on your fantasy roster because he
Right?
checks all the categories. He scores, he gets assists, he hits, plus minus, penalties, he does it all. But there were a while there where he was injury prone. So he'd be lighting it up for you, and then he'd go down, and it's the most frustrating thing. But so happy that, you know, he's putting up these kind of numbers, not just because it's OV and he's so good, but it's good for the league, right? It's a positive story. The chase for Gretz is underway. Is he going to get there? Ovechkin has a couple years left of hockey, so we'll have to see how far he can go, and can he catch Gretzky?
Yeah, and Bernie just put it up. He was an inch away from 767 last night. So, you know, he's moving right along. All right, so let's have the OV debate. Ready? It's not whether or not he's good or not. Really? Yellow laces? I mean, come on. Anyway, sorry, I just can't help it.
I think the yellow laces are a tribute to Crosby. You remember when Ovi and Crosby came in at the same time? The great debate was who's going to be the better player. You know, Crosby had all the concussion and injury issues, so Ovi obviously propelled. So I think I'm playing the yellow laces are a tribute to Crosby. That's my made up story.
I think what it is, hey, everybody, you can find me on the ice. I glow in the dark.
And you still can't stop me.
Yeah, good. And by the way, you may know where I am, but who cares? So here's Pavelski. Take this one away. He matter of fact, we're playing him tonight, and he's been ugly on the ice.
Yeah, lot of signings. We're going to get to some of those. Joe Pavelski signs 1 year, $5.5 million cap hit. Plus there's some signing bonus. It's okay.
Is he just and Robertson he's right there right now. Look, there he is.
So yeah, good for Pavelski. Gets that 1 year deal, 5.5. That's pretty awesome. More signings to come. Here's another one, big milestone. Claude Giroux approaching that 1,000 game marker. So big debate, right? Are they gonna move him? Are they not gonna move him? Are they gonna allow him to get the 1K and then move him? So we'll have to see what this plays out. But the race for 1,000 and the race to the deadline is on for Claude Giroux. But speaking of 1,000, there's a bigger milestone we want to talk about. The Stahl brothers. Oof. Yes, there are 3 of them. And I would love to sit around their dinner table come the holidays and hear them debate about hockey and talk about hockey. All 3 Stahls now getting and hitting that 1,000 game played marker. That's pretty remarkable.
You know what's even more remarkable to me? It's the fact that Stahl. Hey, let's try and get this out in English. Mark actually had to take almost 18 months off when he took that puck in the eye.
That's
and
right.
So you can imagine how much, how many games would he have actually played if he had actually been able to continue and he didn't have that ridiculously gruesome injury. If you guys don't know, when he was playing for the Rangers, there was a slap shot came right up the blade of a stick, came right up the shaft, went under his visor and literally hit him in the eye. And he was out for a good long time. They didn't think he was going to come back and play. Not only did he come back, I think he came back better. He's really, really been aggressive with the puck. He's now with Detroit. But at the same time, could you imagine being that dad? I read the article. I can only imagine what that would be like to have not only 3 sons that play professionally, but really they got 1,000 games each. It's unbelievable.
Think of the man cave that their dad has to have with all that merch.
Right? Look at this. Just look at the 3 jerseys. And I mean, and they each played for a couple of different teams. So oh man, I can't even begin to imagine.
Do you think when they all go over, they're kind of walking around counting pictures, counting jerseys to say, hey, Mark, why do you have an extra picture than me? You know, Eric out there.
I'd almost guarantee it if they're anything like my brothers or, it's like, wait, whoa, how did you get up there? So, and then of course it's, well, I'm older and I'm better. And, you get into all those and you kind of just have a lot of fun with it. But
sure.
No doubt.
Here's a quick Canadian story for you.
Yeah.
Hockey Hall of Fame members, Guy Lafleur, maybe you heard of him, along with Lafleur, Guy Lafleur, Lanny the Mustache McDonald, and Kim St. Pierre were all named to the Order of Hockey in Canada as distinguished honorees for 2022. So pretty nice designation there for a couple of greats in Lafleur, McDonald, and Kim St. Pierre from the women's side. So.
Amen to that. And you know what? The women's league actually, there's a lot of them that the leagues that are really doing well. I know during the Olympics, they were dominant. I mean, I gotta tell you, the games were phenomenal. The goaltending was incredible. They were really good games. They were a lot of fun to watch. So hats off by all means, or a little stick tap on the ice either way.
Absolutely. Couple more stories to throw at you. I told you,
definitely.
It's been a busy week. Let's talk about the Florida Panthers for a minute, because the Florida Panthers are having one heck of a season. And Mr. Jonathan Huberdeau, who's up top in the league scoring, just broke the record from the Florida Panthers for most assists in a single season. Franchise record was 63. 63 assists he has so far in the season. And the record he broke was his own record from not too long ago when he had 52. So this guy can play. So kudos.
Unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely. So there was some other Stanley Cup news.
Some other Stanley Cup news. Stanley Cup getting a little bit, or the Stanley Cup logo kind of getting a refreshed look. And it's kind of cool. When I first saw it, immediately I thought the LA Kings. And I'm like, the Kings aren't going to be anywhere near the Stanley Cup this year. But a couple of the changes they made, they obviously have the cup, the front and center focus, which is cool. They have the little banner in the background, which is a nice little tribute, because we know any team, when they win the cup, they always hang that banner. So we got the little banner icon behind it. And then a couple small adjustments that they've made. In the Stanley Cup wording there, they actually use the same font that's inspired by the hand engraving letters. So all the players' names that are in, it's pretty much a very similar type. Now they're engraving it, but the NHL tried to replicate that in the Stanley Cup font. The word playoffs, that's using the Windsor Sans font, which is inspired by the facade of the Windsor Hotel in Montreal, which is where the NHL was founded in 1917. So a couple throwbacks there in terms of how they represent the fonts, which I thought was really, really cool. And then, of course, they have the NHL shield put out there. So really nice job by the NHL, creating a very sleek logo. I kind of miss the orange that they used to have in the NHL logo and in the Cup logo, but I like this. What are your thoughts on it?
I got to be honest with you. When I first looked at it, because I saw this picture, and when I first originally saw this picture, I was like, I don't see it. And then once I went in and I saw the other photo and I was getting ready for this segment, I was like, you know what? It's kind of cool. It's kind of slick. And the first thing I thought of is exactly what you led with, which is LA's got to love this. I mean, they got to love it. It looks just like, it looks like they already handed it over to LA. So, I think, other teams are going to kind of sit there and be like, hey, what's up with that?
For sure. I'd be curious in the chat. Give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. What you think of that logo? If you like it, give it the thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it the thumbs down. Let's see. And while you're doing that, a couple other things I want to hit on. I know there's just so much tonight. It's crazy. Craig Stanley's Cup. It's so true. Hey, ask Phil Kessel. He serves hot dogs out of it.
hot dog Kessel.
Hot dog.
He did the Kessel run.
The Kessel rung in 12 hot dogs.
So you kind of hit on something before, and I know we're talking about some of the trades and some, what's coming up with the deadline. I think the biggest one out there at the moment, because I think JT Miller is almost effectively off the market. Vancouver's going for the long haul. JT Miller was sitting here saying, I don't think I'm getting traded. You don't say that unless literally, somebody from the front office is coming down saying, you're not going anywhere. Like he came out and publicly said it. So I think the one that you hit on before, I think it's Claude Giroux. I think that he's the one right now. What do you think? Is they going to wait to the 1,000 game, have the celebration, and then bounce him?
I don't know if I like that. It's kind of like taking 2 weeks vacation, coming back and telling your boss you're quitting. I don't like waiting it out, letting him have his moment and saying, all right, thanks, Claude. Here's your silver stick. We'll see you later. The big name I'm hearing the Rangers are looking at is Richard Raquel from Anaheim.
Yep.
So that would be interesting. He's a pretty solid player too.
We've been bitten by the injury bug. And what's really funny is Bernie is literally inside my head right now, because when they announced tonight's lineup, Ottinger has a goaltender who's sitting on the bench backing him up, who's never played a hockey game. And I mean, never. Holtby did not dress We are very close to the trade deadline. We're getting close. He puts it in there and puts, Javi Bulin. I don't know.
Well, it's funny that, man, Bernie, thank you, because your timing is absolutely impeccable.
Yeah.
One of the things that's going on this week as well up in Toronto is there's some serious issues. Jack Campbell just went down with a rib injury. He's out for at least 2 weeks, at least. And if anybody here has hurt their ribs, 2 weeks is a dream, right? Now,
Yes.
They're saying he's had a little bit of a rib injury for a little while and he's just tweaked it, but I think Campbell's going to be out longer than 2 weeks. And rumor on the street is Toronto actually tried to make a deal for Varlamov, and Varlamov ixnayed it because he has a no trade agreement. So Toronto's panicking right now. I know last week you asked me, hey, are the Leafs going to go get a defenseman or a goalie? And I said, no, they're going to go for a D-man. But with Campbell out now, they're looking. And Holtby was one of those names mentioned. Fleury, apparently, there's lots of conversations with Chicago. So very, very interesting situation. And this is what happens, right? Every game that goes on, guys get hurt, guys move around, they get really cold, and your needs change very, very quickly.
Yeah, and especially on the goaltending front, it's really funny because obviously, you might notice I'm a Ranger fan. We've got Sheshi sitting in net, or as everyone else likes to call him, Igor, but I just love Shesterkin with Sheshi. So, but we've got Georgiev and backing him up, and Georgiev keeps saying, I'm a number one, trade me. I haven't seen it. And I think every time he's gone into net, you would think that he's trying to up his trade value, but he's not doing a good job. So, you almost have heard his name kind of fizzle out as to what's what. But Bernie, again, coming with a good point that there are more sellers than buyers at the moment. And I think that we're starting to see that reflect, and it may actually make it so that we see some things that we don't necessarily anticipate, or some larger deals, just because there's a ton of players out there, and it's kind of interesting. And again, Bernie also got into my head with this, with Caps might be kicking the tires. I don't disagree with that either. They know what they could get out of Holtby. So a lot of interesting things going on.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. 21st, I believe, is the deadline. So we got a couple of weeks to go, and a lot can happen.
There's so much, and it's so weird to say. And to see what, who's out there, the names out there. And it's funny because Disney Fanatics just sat there and said, Giroux's not going anywhere. That's because you love him and you don't want to see him go anywhere. I said the same thing about McDonough and about Callahan right at the deadline. Callahan was literally lacing up his skates and they traded him. McDonough had the same thing happen to him. It is entirely possible, he's done after this year. But he's got a no trade clause. So who knows? Yeah. It depends on whether or not he feels like he can get better value outside of Philly. And by the way, he might actually want to compete for a cup. So he's not a young dude.
Okay. A hockey player wanting to compete for the cup?
Never what?
Such a thing.
What cup?
Does that happen?
No.
Here's talk about situations that change. Colorado finds himself not in too much of a pickle because they're just a really good team.
They're a good team.
Gabriel Landeskog, it goes down today, injured, bad knee injury. He's out probably the rest of the season. So does that mean they have to think of, finding someone at the deadline, or are they just going to let it ride, pull the old Tampa Bay with Kucherov, let it ride and bring him in for the playoffs?
You never know. I mean, there's a lot of things, and I love the hypotheticals because Bernie just threw out there Georgiev to Edmonton for Mike Smith, and there's so many things right now that we kind of jokingly sat there and said, "Hey, excuse me for a second, that's my boys right there. That makes it 6-4." I would have screamed, but I didn't want to blow out everybody who was wearing earphones. So, and Coach is looking up at the screen, so he's thinking about a challenge right now. We'll go live to Dave if they go with a coach's challenge. But there's so much going on in the hockeyverse every single night that we also saw before. We're not really kind of bringing it up, but there was a pretty gruesome injury over in Ottawa earlier tonight, and that one looked pretty bad. I watched it literally as we were coming on. We're not going to really talk about it. I'm definitely not going to highlight it. There's a lot of things where, with the rules changing and how far you can skate in and what is boarding, it was a 5-minute match penalty. It was pretty ugly. we'll wait some updates on that. And hopefully we get some positive news because it was pretty nasty.
Yeah. The last couple kind of stories that I have here to talk about. Kotkaniemi, very close to signing an 8-year deal for $4.25 mil per year. Might even be done by now, but that
great deal
can happen. Yeah, I thought he looked really good in Montreal. Gets the trade. He's looked really good. Very solid young talent. So good deal for the player and for the team in that case.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things. The good part is we're starting to see values come down, and I think that's super important. There's been a lot of these outlandish things where players just, there's no limit to where this goes to. That's a good middle ground player signed for, I think, the right price. Same with the $5.5 million signing, 1-year deal. That's a great deal. He came off a $7 million contract, so that's a good pickup. So I'm glad to see some of these contracts are not like really ridiculous. Here's an interesting question, Kim, coming out of the chat. Who's rookie of the year?
Right now for me, and I'm not just saying this because I'm wearing the blue and white, it's Michael Buntcake Bunting. Michael Bunting, he's leading rookies in points, leading rookies in goals, or he was leading in points. He might have dropped down. I didn't see the last stats, but he's leading the rookies in goals. He's got to be up there in plus minus for rookies. He gets under the skin of every team he plays against. He does it all. He's a good defensive player, good two-way hockey player. Raymond is great. Zegras is great. Jeannot is great, but I don't think
you just named both for Bernie. He got Bunting with you and Jeannot. So, and I would have picked Jeannot or Bunting. So, you got two great choices there. I think you're right though, based on points. I don't know. He's annoying to play against. There's no doubt about it. I loved how you put it. You're like, oh, he gets under the skin of everybody. I have right there, it's a Thomas Sandstrom jersey. Anybody who ever played against Thomas Sandstrom knows one of the most aggravating players in the world. And when you play that guy and he gets under you and then he beats you, man, it's rough.
Look at Dino Ciccarelli, Mike Pekka.
Dino Ciccarelli.
They work around the net. They get the goals. They make good plays. You hate to play against them, but you'd love if they signed on your team.
We have one of those at the moment, and he's just killing it. I think he's still in the top 2. He might be top 3. I'm going to say he's slumped because he hasn't scored a lot in the last couple of games, but Kreider. This guy right now has made a home in front of the net. I wouldn't want to play against him for anything in the world at the moment because it's literally, it's brutal. This guy if he gets in front of the net, I would just assume a goal's going in. So it's kind of fun to watch it and to see what's happening with everybody. And then it's amazing. The Hart is being really ramped up around Shesterkin at the moment. So is Vezina. It would be the first time that a goaltender won. I think it's in 20 years has won the Hart. So that would be kind of cool. There's a lot of great things going on with hockey, but we want to move over to another segment. So we're going to bring in our other co-host. She's not with us tonight because she's playing in the House of Mouse. She's down here playing in Magic Kingdom, and she's having a great time. We miss Krystal tremendously. So she was nice enough, and on the nights when she's not going to be with us, she is literally going to be sending us in clips. So with that, we're going to bring in Krystal's Corner. Hey, Krystal.
Fans. We have an exciting weekend coming up in the NHL. The Heritage Classic is on Sunday, March 13th. Coverage begins at 3:30 p.m. on TNT. And this is the first Heritage Classic game since 2019 when Winnipeg played Calgary. So this year we have a great matchup, Toronto versus Buffalo. And yes, Sam's Leafs are playing in the Heritage Classic, so he'll be streaming. I'm excited to check out his stream. But they're going to have performances by Alessia Cara, Willow, and Lindsay L. The Buffalo Sabres defenseman Jacob Bryson is keeping a blog about his experience at the Winter Heritage Classic, not the Winter Classic, which is exciting. It's really cool that he's having that blog experience up on the NHL.com. If you're interested, you can read up on that. And the game is US-Canada themed, since, of course, it's a US team playing a Canadian team. They're going to split the stadium, half red, white, and blue, the other half red and white with the Canada leaf. It's going to be interesting. The matchup, Buffalo and Toronto, the series this year is tied 1-1. There's a lot of players to look out for. Speaking of Buffalo, the ex-Buffalo Sabre, Jack Eichel, made his return to Buffalo, and the fans weren't too happy. They booed him pretty much every time he touched the puck. And if you watch the video, he looks like he's going to cry in his post-game interview, which is pretty sad, but it's to be expected. The Buffalo fans seem to be a little bitter that he left Buffalo. So if you're Buffalo fans, let us know in the chat what you think of Eichel and his return to Buffalo. In Rangers Town, it wasn't a good week for Rangers fans. The game against St. Louis was downright embarrassing, and I'll be the first one to admit it. So that's that, but we're just can only go up from here. I was live today from the Magic Kingdom. If you want to catch the replay, feel free to catch it on the Krystal Palace YouTube channel. Tomorrow morning, I will be live from Hollywood Studios at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you all in the chat. And until then, hockey fans, see you next time.
Fight Club.
That's cool.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for tomorrow night, or so I should say tomorrow afternoon. We did not fare too well against Buffalo the last time we got together. I believe we lost 5-1, which was a little embarrassing. But the Sabres played amazing. And now to get them outdoors, under the lights, weather should be okay from what I'm hearing tomorrow, but you know how quick that weather changes. Game time, 4 p.m., puck drop will be a little bit later after they do, all the celebrations and the anthems and whatnot. We are streaming it over on my channel. So if you want to come hang out for that game, for the play-by-play, definitely come over. Thank you, Jen, for dropping that link. Go over, set your reminder. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to have a good time doing the Heritage Classic.
Sam, take that one.
Trivia. One player tomorrow's class played in the last one, 2009. Oh, Bernie.
Oh,
I have no idea. Oh, TJ Brody. Yes, no, maybe.
Let's see. I actually had no idea, to be perfectly honest with you. Oh, we just hit 100 likes. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome.
We really, truly appreciate that. That means the absolute world to us. And you know what else means the absolute world to us? 7-4 Rangers. This is turning into a hockey clinic right now. I think they're a little upset with what happened over the last couple of days. But just want to say thank you to Krystal. She took her time before she went on break to do that for us and to talk a little bit about Heritage Classic. It was a good segue because obviously the man next to me is literally sitting there in the jersey, and she gave some kudos to him, which is super awesome. We're super happy to have Krystal do those things for us and to make the time. So thank you again, Krystal, for doing that. Make sure you do check out her live stream. She is amazing when she goes live. Her videos are also top notch. She is a great vlogger. So thank you for taking the time and doing that. But back to the hockey.
You see the answer there?
Right here. I just saw the answer come up, and you are correct. TJ Brody. Boom.
Thank God. Credibility was on the line.
I'll tell you what, you're not wrong with that one. I was sitting there going, I don't know. Totally clueless. That's a good look, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, basically tomorrow's going to be exciting for you. You're calling the game. What do you got going on with it? You're calling live, obviously. Tell everybody a little bit about channel, what you do, and what you got going on tomorrow.
Sure, yeah. Tomorrow's going to be a blast. So over on our channel, the Sam Welb B12 Experience, we call it the Experience because we literally have so much stuff. Whether it's cooking with Chef John, who puts out some grilling and smoking videos for us. We do Lego builds. We do video games. We had my son actually just did a VR Oculus stream today of Gorilla Tag, where we opened it up and just had a bunch of people come in. So we do so much stuff. But hockey is what I love. Hockey is what I do. And tomorrow for the game, my boys are literally going to be on the ice at the same time. So I'm taking them to the rink, tying their skates, and I'm running home to jump on and call this game with everyone. So it's going to be so much fun. I love the outdoor games. Usually the Winter Classic is my New Year's tradition. New Year's Day, I sit and I watch that game. There's something about playing outside, even though it's not on a pond. it's still a real cool feel. Tim Hortons Field in Hamilton, it's a Canadian Football League venue where the Hamilton Ticats play out of. Nice little venue. They did a really good job when they kind of rebuilt it a couple years back. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun and a good game. When we call it, we just don't do the play-by-play. We have little mini games in the chats. We have little dances we do. We have redemptions. You can earn points and control the host and make me have to get up and move around and do stuff. So it's just a blast. We have a lot of fun.
Get over there and make him dance. Anybody who sends us a screenshot or a clipping of that video, extra points on this channel, because we'll definitely play them live. Don't even think we won't. We've got segments for everything. So we definitely want to sit there and do that. That would be a lot of fun. We've got Ranger fans in here, which, by the way, I think I can effectively put this up because the game just ended. Boom shakalaka. Rangers win. Surprise, surprise, 7-4. So that's a lot of fun. And that's half the fun of doing these games while we're live. We can reactionary. There's going to be times where, obviously, Sam's going to be watching live games. I'm going to be watching live games. Hopefully, we can do this show when there's a live Ranger and Toronto game. That would be a lot of fun. And I think even if we, when we play, we have one more game this year, don't we?
I'm sure we do.
I think we have one more. So whatever night that is, you and I are going to have to go live regardless, and you'll call it on your channel. We'll go live on here. We'll have a little fun. I'll call the Rangers feed. You call the Toronto feed, and we'll have some great times, and we'll have some fun with it because it'll be a little crazy. But Rangers win. Super excited. 7-4. I mean, I can't really say anything about the 7th. It was an empty netter. It was Stromer throwing it in there. But we've got some great folks in here that are dropping their teams. We got Rangers, Avalanche, Kings, Thrashers. Did I just take a time machine?
What? Kovalchuk is back in the league?
Wait, what happened? Like the Thrashers are back. I don't know when that happened.
Danny Heaton.
But so I'm not sure what's going on. This is crazy. But yeah, it's been a great week. Obviously, we didn't do the fight segment this week just because I couldn't. I got a copyright claim last week for playing some of it. I'm going to get together this week and get some new clips together for the fights so that this way I can pull last week's fights and make sure I take everything out of them. So they're going to be a little bit delayed from now on when they come out. But if you're a hockey fan like me, you really don't care when the fight came out. You just like watching them. They're so much fun. Bernie, sorry that I showed you the one with Asham, but you know what? There's nothing like watching him do this and then take the nap. And I know that it was, of all people, it's Beagle. But and Asham was a Ranger. He was a tough guy. It was a lot of fun to watch. If you love hockey fights, drop in your favorite of all time. Who's your favorite fighter? I got to tell you, I got a couple of them. And one of them, everyone always laughs when I say it, but it's Ty Domi. Like, he's just one of my all-time favorites. Another one's Darren Langdon. I could say Mickelrath as well. I mean, these guys were just some good fighters. Sam, who would you say is your overall top fighter?
Oh, it's so hard. I'm going to have to go with Wendell Clark.
Clark's a good one too.
And I mean, hey, he puts in goals. He's a fighter, but going back to that bitter series against the LA Kings in the playoffs when him and McSorley went at it, and they were just fully going at it. And when you look back at all the Clark versus Probert and whatnot over the years, he's the guy.
Probert was a tough guy, but I always loved watching Domi and Probert go at it just because it was like you needed a step ladder just to get up there. And and the only reason that I really liked Domi was one of the main reasons was because of the fact that he was just fearless. And like you had that with George McPhee too. George McPhee threw like these ridiculous overhands, underhands. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I was just watching footage of the 97 Avalanche and Red Wings. And I mean, I probably have watched it like 3 times in the last 2 weeks, but it's unbelievable. It was so much fun to watch back when they would fight. Now we have, I got pillow hands, Ryan Reeves. The guy won't drop the gloves for anything. I mean, you run anybody over, you hit your stirk, and it's like, that's okay. I'm going to go eat a hot dog. And it's like, hot dogs are for Phil Kessel. It's not for you, dude. Like, you're supposed to be out there, showing everybody you're a tough guy. And, enforcers are dying, and that's unfortunate. And there's Matt Orlando saying Domi was tough. He was a tough guy. As a matter of fact, most people don't know this. He's one of the only people to ever get in a fight in the penalty box. And, I wish I could pull up the footage and show you, but a fan broke the glass, fell into there, and they got into a fist fight in the middle of the penalty box. I mean, how great is that? Only in hockey.
Totally old school, right? When fights would break out on the bench and they'd be going like slap shot, they'd be going up into the stands. But it's a whole new generation. I know Bernie's putting in there, Waugh versus Osgood, and you had Vernon versus Waugh, some good ones. You had Felix Potvin versus Ron Hextall, was good. Hextall alone, he'd skate out to the blue line to take somebody out. You just don't see that anymore.
One of my favorite goaltending fights of all time, and obviously, look, I'm a little bit biased. I'm dressed completely in blue, right? There's why can't I think of this? Gloutier. Gloutier literally skates out. He gets in a fight. When it's all over, he's completely padless. Okay, from the pants up. He skates to the bench and goes like this. He's sitting here going, "Come on, who wants to come off the bench and fight me?" A goaltender. The guy's out of his freaking mind. I absolutely loved watching that. I've watched that fight about 26,000 times. It's literally saved in my favorites. It is literally just nuts. And then almost had one this week from Bernie. I was watching this game when it happened. Cam Talbot. Again, another former Ranger. You just got to love it. These guys are nuts. And goaltenders fighting is literally it's the greatest thing in the world. They have more gear on than anybody. And watching them throw it, it's like, really? Really? Like, what are you going to hit? They shoot pucks at you, for crying out loud. Like, come on.
Yeah. So they're used to getting hit with rubber. You think the fists are going to make that much of a difference?
It's the one mask that you have to get off in order to throw down. But, and I understand that they're trying to protect the players, but let them take the hats off so this way you stop punching visors. You're breaking hands, you're cutting stuff. It's bad that's actually, in my opinion, worse for the game. Then let them go at it. They want to go at it so bad. The ref sucks. He missed the call. Let them drop the gloves. They don't like what happened. They're going to do it anyway. So would you rather them get hurt, break a hand, be out 6 weeks, or would you rather, I understand it's about their heads hitting the ice. I get it. But they're trying to pull it off anyway, and they don't stop the fight when they do. So the only time they stop the fight now is when they pull the jersey over the head. Yeah. Which is entertaining.
I used to love back in the day. The jersey comes over. You have guys, Probert was the king of that. He'd just rip his jersey and shoulder pads off before he even started throwing punches. You had the guys that would pull the jersey up over the face and they just sit there smacking them in the face behind the jersey. I didn't like that stuff so much. Rather just pull it right over and just go.
I got to be honest with you. If you let somebody actually sit there and get this up like this in your face and you don't do what you got to do, I think it's funny. Like, I'm sorry, but I love watching. And my favorite fights, you know what? I got to play the clip anyway, just because at the end of the day, it has one of my favorite fights in it. And this is old school fighting right here. He doesn't get any credit, but he sits there, and when they grab on like this. They put their heads down and just start throwing them like this.
I totally forgot about May. Such an underrated fighter. And who was it? The name escapes me. He was on Pittsburgh. I want to say he was number 11, and he agitated everyone. He didn't really fight, but he caused a lot of fights. Darius Kasparaitis. Oh my gosh. This guy was the cause of many fights because he wouldn't drop the gloves, but he would get under the skin. He would cause a ruckus, and man, Broiguses would break out.
But and speaking of antagonizers, you had people like Sean Avery. Yep. He was insane. The Avery rule comes out. Why? Because he stands in front of a goaltender going like this with a stick in front of him. Wait, I even brought my little Rangers hockey stick this week. He's going like this, and he's going nuts. And that's the thing is like, let him take the hats off. Let him go to the center of the ice. Let's call it what it is. I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. Let's have some fun. You're going to give them 5 minutes anyway. If they instigate and they go for no reason, they're getting the extra 2. But let them go have some fun. Let them throw some fights. Let's have some fun with it. There's no reason in the world that, first of all, it's never going to leave the game. You're not going to get it out because the refs, you and I were talking about this last week before we kicked off. The ref is at the same height as everybody else. They're not going to see everything. So there's going to be missed calls. There's going to be missed things. There's going to be things that happen that are dirty in front of the net. What you got to do is let them enforce. That's why they're called enforcers. Enforce the rules. Enforce that you shouldn't have hit my guy. All right. Panarin, he should be off limits. How in the world Tom Wilson's still walking around vertical? I don't get it. This guy should have been laid out. Game 1, they set it up. Rangers, Caps. Reeves is on the ice. He's sitting there skating around. I think he actually heard Rainbow Connections in his head while he's skating around. I'm like, come on already. Drop the gloves. Let's get it done. You should already have taken him out. Now, he wasn't your guy last year, but he is this year. And you're supposed to be the toughest guy in the league. And so far, one fight.
I don't even know how Tom Wilson gets to the All-Star game, but that's a completely different story. Guys like Zach Ronaldo, bounce around. Even Jordan Tutu for a while. They bounce around because teams aren't looking to bring in these guys. They're trying to build skill-based teams, and the whole thought of enforcers seems to be going away. But what GMs and coaches don't realize is come playoff time, it's a completely different level of hockey. And the
refs call less.
Yeah. And you need somebody who can go in there and muck it up and drop the gloves and send a message if you need to. And too many super talented teams with no enforcement are going to have a real tough time in the playoffs because they don't have someone that can go in and send a message to the other team.
Can I just remind everybody of the 2014 Rangers? We lost against LA because it was like skating out there, and it was like the Pee Wee League against professionals. We skated out there. The average guy, I think, was like 2.5 feet tall. And I'm like, we're going to get killed. What happened? We got killed. Lundqvist could only carry the team so far. And, I'm sure there's many a nights he's sitting there going, I wish that we still had X, Y, or Z on the team because we needed a little bit more grit. But I'm going to tell you right now, the other thing, and it's funny because I was about to get there and Jonathan got there. There's another Domi floating around who can skate and fight, and he can score too. And he's been rumored to be on the block. I would love to see another DOMI on the back of a Ranger jersey. So if Max wants to come and play with the Rangers, I'm all in. Hopefully he shows Ryan Reeves what toughness is all about, because at this point, Ryan Reeves is about as scary as a box of cornflakes. So I'm not really that worried about him being on the ice. Yeah, he leads the team in hits. Whoop-de-doo.
I tell you, Max certainly showed Toronto a lesson when we kind of paired off against him not too long ago. He laid out, was it Justin Hall? It was somebody he got in a fight with and absolutely destroyed him. And he had one heck of a game, all-around game. So he definitely showed Toronto that you need some players like that.
And it's funny because we were talking about, the different hits and this and that, and Bernie actually kind of finished out my thought, which is enough is enough with these clean hit fights. All right. A guy comes in, and Trouba's been, one of them that I've seen a lot of the times. I mean, I call it the Trouba train, because he comes in, his arms are down, he keeps it up, he's not skating anymore, and he lays in a hit. He hits hard. And I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, why can't I think of who it is that was on Detroit forever? He was a bomb thrower, but they were always clean. You came in that defensive zone, he'd lay you out. And you know what? They got to stop with some of this. They should throw in the extra 2 minutes or throw in a game misconduct. You shouldn't be able to go after somebody because they lined them up, they did it right, and they played by the rules, and it's a clean hit.
Yeah.
Those things have got to stop. I'm not saying that you can't really throw down a little bit. Maybe you get into a scrum with him, say, hey, I don't like it, get in his face, whatever you want. But there are a lot of times you're getting these hijack fights where the gloves are off, they're coming in, the other guy doesn't even get his gloves off, and he's already taken a beating. He just hit somebody. So,
yeah. So let me throw this.
I'm not a fan.
Talking about Trouba, because Trouba's great. I like Trouba. He kind of reminds me of Sherratt, the way big guy, throw the body around. Guy like Scott Stevens back in the day, you come across that blue line and you have your head down, he's going to destroy. Like, he pretty much ended Eric Lindros's career.
You got that right.
The big debate is, Scott Stevens hits clean or dirty. What's your take?
Back then or today?
I guess when you think about it like that, back then, I wouldn't have.
The rules have changed, and that's exactly the point, though, is with the rules changing. You're also talking about in a day when 2-line passes exist, which was the stupidest rule in the history of the game. And when you think about it, I'm sorry, but you want the most basic of rules that every coach teaches: head up. Okay, what happens in Mystery Alaska? Hey, coach, his head was down. Yep, he came across the line. His head was down. He got run over by a Mack truck.
What a great movie.
And Bernie, it's not Kastatanov. I can't remember who in the world it is, but you keep throwing in Detroit Red Wings from about 5 years ago, and I'll get it right one of these days. But in all actuality, I personally think your head's down, you come across, they're calling this thing where it's contact to the head. If you're leaned over and you're looking at the puck and your head is about 8 inches, 10 inches lower, sorry, it's on you. Do I like the hit? No, but I also don't like the ones where they're coming from the blue line. You're over by the hashtag. They skate all the way over and they aim for the head. That one, you should be allowed to still jump the boards and go kick his head through the ground. I'm in favor of it. It should at least be when he comes out of the box after those 2 minutes or 5 minutes. I'm sorry. You got to throw down. Now, Fedorov was an incredible skater. He was an incredible player. I don't know why in the world I can't. It was Cromwell. Cromwell was incredible at laying down the law. If you came in, it was like I used to sit there and go, "You got Cromwelled." So he was fantastic at laying in that hip check. And that's another thing. Where did the hip check go? I mean, if you think about it, Brian Leach, Adam Graves, these guys could lay in hip checks. You're talking about Dougie Hamilton, like some of these, not Dougie Hamilton, the other Hamilton. They used to, you come in, they ride you into the turnbuckle. Yeah. So
most of the time now, you throw a hip check, you get called.
See, hip checks, crazy. That's the thing is, like you're throwing hip checks right now. All of a sudden, you're coming in and they're calling it interference.
Yep, they were some.
Hold on a second. I have every right to that puck, just like you do. If we're facing one another, that puck is equally mine as it is yours, especially since 95 times out of 100, the puck's not sitting on the blade anyway. Yeah. So if it's not on the blade of the stick and you don't have control, that puck's fair game. I should be able to stop and lay you out. So Graves was overrated. That's why he's hanging from the rafters. But it's one of those
overrated.
Yeah, that's right. He's overrated over the top of most other players. Number 9, go check him out. He's hanging at the top of MSG. But at the end of the day, a lot of the game has changed so much. Like you're saying, the level of what's a clean hit, what isn't. Orlov was another one. Great hip checks. That's the thing is there's so many things when you look at it and you go, why is that not okay? I'm not good with the boarding right now. I think that the players, they need to be instructed a little bit better as to how it goes. And I don't know.
A big problem with the boarding right now is, these guys are smart, right? They're NHL players. When they line themselves up along the boards, they know they're going to get hit.
Yep.
They happen to turn just the right way at the right time. So the guy coming in, they just can't stop, right? They're just trying to draw a penalty. And it's ridiculous.
I couldn't agree more.
Big time.
All right, so let's pick on, in my opinion, one of the worst players in the league right now, just because we're talking about penalties, we're talking about stupidity, and what I think is absolutely horrible play. PK Subban. Got to go, or is he okay in the league? Or should we call him Slewfoot Subban?
I didn't mind him a couple of years back. It seems every season that goes on, it's getting worse and worse. And it is because of that slowdown. And he's one of many that a guy steps around, you stick out your leg, you stick out your knee. You're just trying to do anything to stop him. And it's bad. And people are going to get hurt.
Well, he's also doing it in the corners, though. Like he's going into the corner and he's picking that foot up and he's literally slew-footing people down to the ice. And he did it against Panarin knee on knee the other day. He got called for tripping. I think it should have been called more. But at the end of the day, I'm watching him and Marchand right now are two of, in my opinion, they're bad for hockey. They really have no place in the world in this league. Subban, I think when they trade him, it should be for a bag of pucks. And I think that after that, they should take his contract, light it on fire at center ice and call it a day. Yeah. This guy's got no place in hockey anymore.
I think a big part of that, and maybe this is a topic for debate for next week. So everyone in the chat, you guys can get your stories together. But George Peros running the player safety and handing out suspensions. You could do a whole show just on Peros himself and what he's handed out. So that's why I say maybe we pick that up next week. And I think a lot of those judgments that are coming down are leading to a lot of what we're seeing on the ice.
Well, you see what happened with Marchand.
Yep.
Do you think it was deserving for a 6-game suspension?
Should have been a whole lot more.
I thought it should have been 10.
Yep. Jason Spezza, who is, playing for the league minimum right now by choice, is still a heck of a hockey player, standing up for his teammate. There's a non-call, bad hit, takes a run. Granted, shouldn't have cross-checked the guy. The guy happened to be falling when he cross-checked him. Jason Spezza gets 5 games. 5 games for give him, a $2,000 fine, whatever their fines are. That's all it was warranted. You have Marchand, who, does this game in and game out to people and gets nothing. Give a right hand, boom, to the chin of the goaltender out of the blue, and he gets 6 games. If that was Nazem Kadri who did that, he would have been out the whole season.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And I think, and by the way, we're not talking about the fact that Marchand is a first-time offender. I mean, right? I mean, this guy's been suspended a bunch. And, what he did, and I love his thing. Oh, well, I knew he had a ton of gear on. I wasn't going to hurt him. You skated by and punched a goalie in the face.
Yeah.
Really? Okay, so now this also goes back to that enforcer thing. Why did nobody and by the way, if it hasn't happened, great. The first game back, somebody should just take the little 4-foot and just pound them.
Yep.
And, Bernie's sitting in there saying he's an elite offensive player. That's true, but he's also an offensive player because he's literally doing things. He's trying to instigate stuff. I mean, there's no call for what he did because why? Goaltender yelled at him and sat there and said, "How do you like that?" And he turns around and he walks over and okay, you want to play like that? That's fine. And by the way, I'm all in favor of it. Let's drop the gloves and do what we got to do. But
so if somebody was to skate by and punch Wayne Gretzky in the face,
yeah,
you're telling me, whether, on the days of the Oilers that Messier or some of those guys
Messier destroys him
there, that on LA McSorley and half the team don't jump in there. I get it. Yes, he's an elite player. He's tremendously talented with the stick. He can shoot, he can deke, but I don't care how great of a player you are. You can't just skate by and punch.
Well, he also starts a lot of stuff too, and he wants to mix it up. Well, if you want to mix it up, you got to be ready to take it. And he had, for years you had Charo, you had a bunch of people that would sit there and step in. But you know what? You're going to skate by and throw a punch at somebody. You got to expect the next time. I'm telling you right now, it should be like Tortorella against what was it? Those leaky devils who got their heads kicked in by the front line. It's one of those things where Tortorella starts and goes, you know what? That's fine. I'll go start 5 fighters. Let's go have some fun. And what happened? There's a line brawl and they all got just plowed and the Rangers are standing there laughing at them.
Yeah.
So,
there's Bernie. Sorry to interrupt. Dave Semenko.
No.
There's Gretzky's enforcer,
You got it. And that's the thing is back in the day, you had that because there was also a respect. You didn't go and run Gretzky at the boards. If you did, you knew what was coming. And by the way, there was a respect factor. He's the greatest one that's ever played. And, even if somebody gets to that level, you got to remember what he was playing with back in the day. Now we have, somebody touched the stick with, to my hands. Oh, there's 2 minutes. You got a hooking. He was playing with a league that had no helmets at times, where there were line brawls. There were bench clears. There was all kinds of stuff going on. And how many cups did he hold up?
Yeah.
He's the GOAT, period. End of story. So, it's Timmy, we actually were talking about the Panthers earlier. They've been doing fantastic. And the sleeper is still Tampa. We've had a lot of these other teams where there's so much going on in hockey that, an hour almost doesn't cover it. And it's not that we're stuck to an hour, but we try to keep it so that this way we kind of go at it and kind of bring you what's coming, what's relevant, what's going to come in the next couple of days. But Panthers, again, good team, good hockey. Tampa's playing good team, good hockey. What I just watched with the Stars, they were doing fantastic. There's so many good teams out there right now. There it is.
Here's the guy right here, Jonathan Huberdeau. This guy is the National Hockey League right now.
Huberdeau's fantastic.
And I only had it handy because I was trying to sell it. But wasn't it Marchand, the guy a couple of years ago who's trying to lick people?
Was it him?
I thought it was him when you get really close. And
he licked the side of their face.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there was him, and then there was somebody who was biting people. And I'm trying to remember who was biting people. Because there was I know who it was. It was Brandon Lemieux bit people at the bottom of the pile. Okay,
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, he licked Callahan. That's right, Bernie. CeeLo, have a good night. Thanks for being in, buddy.
CeeLo.
We'll see you soon. And can't wait to see you on NASCAR, by the way. CeeLo is going to be joining us for some NASCAR talk, everybody.
Sweet.
Let me
throw a couple names at you.
Go ahead.
Real quick. Greg Anderson picks up his 300th win this week as a goaltender.
Huge.
When he was playing in Ottawa, I never thought he'd get 300 wins. So kudos for him. He's he's not a top tier goaltender. Maybe he's in that second echelon, but good for him picking up 300 wins. Also, Pittsburgh. Not a huge Pittsburgh fan myself, but Pittsburgh has a little conundrum right now. They've realized doesn't look like they're going to be able to re-sign Letang. And with the trade deadline coming up, we could see Letang on the move.
Where do you think he goes?
I have no idea. I mean, defensemen are hot. Letang's a pretty solid guy. He's going to come with a pretty big price tag. So that's going to limit his mobility. But
there's only a couple teams that could take that kind of cap hit.
Yeah. I'd love to have him on my team. It's not going to happen, but he's a good hockey player. He'll be great wherever he goes.
Yeah, I agree.
The last player I want to throw out there, Rasmus Ristolainen, good defenseman, was on the trade bait board, has just re-signed 5 years for $25.5 million. So about a $5 million,
$5 million a year
cap hit. So good for him. Ristolainen off the market, tied up with the Flyers.
But you see how these cap numbers are coming down now. We're not seeing these ridiculous deals right now. And I think that that's a good thing for hockey, especially with, we just watched this with baseball, where, there was a lot of things going on and, with the disputes and the labor unions and all these other things. I like seeing these contracts restructured. Obviously, I'm also a Giants fan, which I'm watching what idiocy happened with our contracts. We just restructured some contracts on that and, cut some people to try and make room. Basically, that's just the long and the short of it. You got to start seeing these things get under control, get to a place where, it's something it's good for the sport. I think it'll also help with these trades moving forward into next year, because we had the issue with COVID and our cap also with the amount of revenue determines how big the cap is. So we're going to see a little bit of some hold up with that. I think it's really good for hockey that we're seeing this. But, at the end of the day, it's also a good way for me to also segment into a new show that's coming up on the FPE Sports Network starting on Monday, because I just mentioned baseball. And by the way, coming Monday, Breaking Balls. It's a weekly baseball recap. It's going to be with Jeff Bates and with Bill Guerrera. So make sure that if you are into baseball and you want to hear a weekly recap on baseball, now that we have some news coming out, make sure you do that. It'll be 10:30 at night on Mondays. It's going to be absolutely epic. If you guys know Dole Whip Dad from the Disney community, they are spectacular. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure that you're tuning in for that. We got a Ducks fan in the house. That's awesome. Welcome in, Ziggy. That's tremendous. We love hearing that. And then we're not ready to wrap up yet, but I'm going to go over a couple of things FPE, and then I'm going to let Sam kind of bring us home and talk about the last couple of things of the night. Tomorrow over on FPE Network, we have Coast to Coast Disney. Maddie's out tomorrow because she's in the process of moving. We're going to have Tinker J with our host Miriam. So make sure that if you're into Disney, come on over, support the Disney community. We all like to have some fun. As much as we do our sports, we still love our Disney. And also on Monday night, we have an epic interview that was like none other. This is Evening with Magical Lifestyle. We have Michael James Scott. If you don't know who he is, he's the third most famous genie to play the part. He is on Broadway. He is absolutely epic. And I mean epic. This guy is something else. He embodies the genie It is so much fun to watch. So make sure that you're tuning in for that. If you have not hit the like button down here, please hit that like button. We got up over 100. We really appreciate that. We've also had a tremendous amount of subs since last week. We really, truly appreciate that too. So make sure that you're hitting that subscribe button. It's super epic. And for everybody who's trolling my Rangers right now, I just love those pictures. And I know it eats away at people, so I love it. One of these days, we'll get you one of those, and we'll throw that up on for everybody else too. There, Sam.
Yeah, ours will be black and white though.
Well, we need a modern day one. We need to get you up there again, get it going. But also make sure that, if you're like sports, Sam calls the Toronto games. Make sure that you're going over to Sam Welb 12. Go over to his YouTube channel. We're going to drop that in again. But if you want to hear Toronto games called and you're a Toronto fan, or if you just like hockey and you want to support somebody in the hockey community, get over there and support Sam. He is absolutely epic. Also, our partner channel is the Pete McDevitt Show. If you like anything sports, pretty much anything, Pete is calling it. Get over there, support Pete McDevitt. He's got a bunch of things going on. He's also a huge, huge Disney content creator. He's also very good for our community. He helps everybody out. If you don't know who he is, he has an incredible story. Go over there and find out about Pete. You want to hear something? He's calling games in the middle of the day. He's doing NCAA. He's doing hockey. He's doing all kinds of stuff. But he is our partner channel. I am proud to be in the network with him, and it is super epic. Sam actually goes over there from time to time, calls games with Pete. So you'll see us all over the place. We kind of try and do as much as we can. And then on Thursday nights, he does something with a bunch of football with everybody. And Gene Fitzmagic's over there, does the Fitzmagic Audible. It's on Thursday nights, I think at 7. I could be wrong, but go over there and check it out. Pete's awesome. But other than that, what else do you think's coming up this week in hockey?
This is going to be a crazy week. As this week and next week are just going to be madness. We're going to start to see some trades rolling around or signings. So next week, there's going to be a lot of that going on. Standing wise, we're still seeing Carolina and Florida at the top in the East. They're hanging on. So they're definitely in there for the stretch. I think the interesting area is going to be that 6, 7, and 8 spot right now with your Rangers, Boston, and Washington. And I know we got fans of all those teams here in the chat. So that's going to be interesting to see how the Eastern Conference really shapes up as we move closer to the trade deadline. And do those teams that, Columbus and Detroit, do they somehow manage to get closer and want to try and put a run together? Who knows? On the Western side, Colorado and Calgary, they're going to dominate the West. It looks like they're just running away with it. But again, that 7, 8, and 9 spot, Vegas, Nashville, and Dallas. You have Edmonton and Vancouver just chomping at their heels. So going to be really, really interesting as we get closer to trade deadline to see how the standings change. Is that going to trade? Who's buying? Who's selling? And I just can't wait for it to all unfold.
Hey, so you know how like hockey fans, we like to taunt one another, right? We have a good time with it. It's a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and take a shot at this one because this is our Devils fan in here saying 30 years ago, right? You're 30 points behind me. Let me know when you get anywhere out of 7th place. Call me. But other than that, it's going to be a good race to see how this goes. But it's really welcome in, Pete. Who is he? There it is. And by the way, here's also our partner. There's Gene. So everybody, these are 2 great people. So make sure you're saying hi to them in the chat. Great content creators. Gene Fitzmagic, obviously partner here on FPE, and Pete McDevitt, our partner channel. So fantastic. We love it. But I think it's going to be an epic week. I agree with you. There's going to be tons and tons of things going on with trades. It's just going to be so much fun. The next 2 weeks are going to heat it up. We're going to be bringing things to you, and just make sure you tune in next week. We may do what you were talking about, like picking on George. That might be a little bit of fun. I don't mind going a little negative towards, player safety because it's kind of a joke. So
it's been bad. And I tell you, next week, actually, so we have on our channel tomorrow, we're doing the game as we talked about, the Heritage Classic. So come on over, check us out on Sam Welb 12, join us for the game. And if you like what we do, give us a subscribe because we're growing and fast. But next Saturday, I'm actually going to be heading in the afternoon downtown, and I haven't been downtown in a long time. We're going to the Marlies game, little AHL action. So we'll see if we can get some footage that we can, some pictures we can pull up on the show.
That'd be epic. That'd be a lot of fun. I think we would be able to get that done. That'd be really good. So Hey, and by the way, if I could drop the gloves, here we go. So you guys are rebuilding, huh? Think I'm any good? I'm in second place in the division. Where are you? I have to actually hold up a whole nother hand. Let me know when that works out for you.
Yeah.
But other than that,
how's that number one pick with Jack Hughes turning out?
Oh, thank you so much. There you go. So, you got to love it. 2-on-1. So, but other than that, it's been a lot of fun talking hockey again this week with you. We're going to have a lot of things moving forward. So make sure that if you're not tuned in, if you're not subscribed here on the network, you do, because we have baseball coming. Live basketball calling on Sunday nights with Gene Fitzmagic and with Bondo. They're going to be calling the Sunday game at night. We have NASCAR coming to the network. We have golf coming to the network, right? We have a golf instructor who's going to be coming in. Trying to think of what other sport, like if there's a sport you guys want to see, comment down below, drop it in the chat. Let us know how things are going. We would love to do it for you. If there's something we're not doing, we're going to do it. You want to see WWE? It's coming to the network. You want to see MMA? Coming to the network. Everything has come to the network. We even have soccer coming. That'll be a little bit down the road, but it's coming. Next year for football
included.
That's right. For football, we're going to be doing fantasy. We're also going to be doing sit 'em or play 'em. We're going to be doing fantasy. We're going to be doing all kinds of stuff. So if there's anything that you guys want to see us do with the network, just let us know. You can reach out to us in so many different ways. Gene even just said maybe even cricket. I didn't know Gene even knew what Jiminy Cricket was. But let your conscience be your guide. Other than that, it has just been absolutely epic. It's been a great week. And having the Rangers again win tonight and solidify that second place so that I can make fun of Devil fans makes it all the better tonight just for me alone. But other than that, everybody, Sam, you're calling the game tomorrow. What else you got during the week for your channel?
Oh, gosh. So I got to look at the schedule. So we have the game. The game is our big thing, right? We're doing that game. We actually have a new kind of sit-down talk show that we – nice, Bernie.
We're covering more than the Ocho. That's fantastic.
Nice. We're so we have the game tomorrow. We're trying to give back a little bit. I've started a little one-on-one sit-down show. We just had our first episode last week. We have another episode coming up this week. We're just trying to get to know some other people out in the different communities and help share the love. So trying something a little new there, but we're right back on Thursday, the 17th with the Leafs and Carolina Hurricanes. That's going to be an epic
That's
game.
going to be a great game.
And then, Friday we're at the Marlies. So that's the Buffalo game and the Carolina game are our only two games on the schedule for this upcoming week.
Pizza can't be involved in any fantasy that involves Gene Fitzmagic. I don't blame you. The beard cheats. He hides little rules and stuff in there. Got to watch out for him. So, Ed Jafar, it's all in fun, man. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And that's the point, is hockey fans everywhere. We all share a love of the game, and we love our teams, and we love to drop the gloves and have a little fun. And that's what we're trying to bring to the network. So thanks for joining us. But make sure that you're tuning in to my co-host that's here, my co-host who isn't here, Krystal, who sent in a video segment. Make sure you're checking her out on our live streams over at Magic Kingdom. We are community-based. We build community. That's how we do this, because we are stronger together, everyone. So make sure that we come together. We support one another. The best way that you can do that is to go over. Don't just hit the like button. Make sure you give some watch time. Make sure you check them out. If you like their content, hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. It'll tell you when we go live so that you can enjoy great content like this, like Sam, like Pete, like Gene. We all come together and we do this every week. So we want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. It means the world to us. And for Sam, the natural, get used to it, because we're going to get him to change that. It's going to start saying Sam Welb 12, the natural. I am Dave the BearShark. And until next week, where we pick on George, have a great epic hockey week, everybody. And we'll see you tomorrow on Sam Welb 12 for the Heritage Classic. Can't wait. Have a great one, everybody.
We are the Florida Park Explorers.
We explore the parks 5 to 6 days a week with great live streams and vlogs. We cover everything from rides and food to magic and fun and fireworks. So come join us on our adventures as we take you through
the Disney parks and more.
And check out our all-new channel, the FPE Network. And thanks for watching.